You've probably heard of the famous gold rush that took place between 1848 and 1855, a time when thousands of people left everything behind to try their luck in search of hidden riches in the earth. But back then, the advanced technology we have today didn't exist. The only ones who really knew how to find gold and gemstones were the most experienced prospectors, relying on knowledge passed down through generations. But how did these people manage to locate gold without sophisticated equipment? That's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's video. You may not realize it, but those yellowish rocks you see in your area might actually contain gold. Yes, you heard that right. But before you rush out to search for a potential gold deposit, it's important to understand how prospectors of the past identified these locations. With the advancement of technology, much of this knowledge has been lost over time. Today, machines do most of the work for large mining companies. The problem? These machines are incredibly expensive and out of reach for most people. That's why you need to pay close attention, because you're about to gain access to valuable knowledge that has been forgotten for generations. And the best part? It's being revealed to you right now, for free. Now imagine you found a yellow rock. How can you tell if it contains gold? The answer is simpler than you might think, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. If you've ever been to a rural area, a ranch, a farm, or anywhere with rock formations, you've probably seen yellow-colored stones before. And here's the big question. Have you ever ignored a rock that actually contained gold without realizing it? The truth is, the chances of that happening are pretty high. You may have come across a gold-bearing rock and unknowingly tossed it away. But don't worry about that now. As we all know, gold is yellow. So when we see a yellow rock in nature, it's only natural to wonder, is this gold or just something that looks like it? I know most of you aren't professional prospectors, and that's exactly why we're going to follow a step-by-step process to determine whether the yellow material you found is real gold or just a natural look-alike. And to make things even easier, here's a little secret. There are several yellow minerals in nature that can fool those who aren't familiar with them. That's why in this video, you'll learn how to eliminate false possibilities and compare them with the characteristics of real gold. For example, one of the most common minerals that confuse beginners is yellow limonite, a byproduct of iron ore. It can have a very bright yellow color, but here's a quick tip. Just by holding it in your hand, you can already tell the difference and rule it out. The first important point is that yellow clays and limonite may look valuable at first glance, but they're actually easy to identify and dismiss. Yellow clays dissolve easily in water, while yellow limonite crumbles or can be scraped away, releasing a fine, light powder. These materials are opaque and lack shine, unlike gold, which has a distinct luster and is an extremely heavy metal. So even though a yellowish material might catch the eye of a beginner, simply feeling and observing it is often enough to determine that it's not gold. Now let's talk about another mineral that confuses a lot of people, mica. Mica is a material found in many regions, and it often tricks people because of its shine. If you've ever come across rocks that, when exposed to sunlight, reflect tiny golden sparkles, you might have thought you had found gold dust. And this confusion makes sense. Against the light, mica shines a lot, and sometimes its fragments are so small that you only see the sparkle, not the mineral itself. But how can you tell mica apart from gold? The best way to understand is by observing its structure. Mica appears in thin sheets or small flakes that resemble fish scales. When found in larger pieces, it looks very different from gold. But when fragmented or in powder form, identifying it can be more complicated. However, there is one key detail that makes mica very easy to distinguish. It is extremely lightweight. If you are searching for gold in sand or placing the material in a container with water, mica will float or remain on the surface, while gold, being much heavier, will sink quickly. Another simple test is pressing the tip of a pin against the golden fragment. If it's mica, it will break into smaller pieces. If it's real gold, it will only flatten without breaking. And here's another important detail. Mica's shine is a golden reflection that changes color as you move the stone, similar to tiny mirrors. Gold, on the other hand, maintains its yellow color regardless of the light and has a more subdued, constant shine. Gold found in nature has a lighter yellow tone and a steady glow, different from the intense color of gold wedding bands we usually see. This happens because pure gold is extremely soft and malleable. So to be used in jewelry like wedding bands, it needs to be mixed with other metals, such as copper. This mixture makes the gold more durable and slightly reddish, forming what is known as 18-karat gold. But here's an interesting detail. Even though mica has no commercial value, its presence can indicate that the area where you're searching might be rich in gemstones, such as diamonds. So if you find mica, it's worth investigating the location further. Now let's talk about pyrite, the stone that has fooled more people than any other in mining history. It's not called fool's gold for nothing. Iron pyrite is composed of iron and sulfur and can be found in different forms in nature. Some are easy to distinguish from gold, but others can cause a lot of confusion. Often, pyrite is attached to lighter or darker rocks, making it look like a small vein of gold embedded in the stone. Its color is golden, but duller and with a silvery tint, and for someone without experience, it may look like real gold. And here's one of the main reasons behind this confusion. Pyrite is heavy. Anyone who has held a piece of pyrite knows it has a significant weight for its size, which leads many people to believe they are holding gold. But the difference is huge. Gold is up to 4 times heavier than pyrite, and that distinction is crucial. So if you find something that looks like gold but still have doubts, here are 2 simple tests to determine whether it's real gold or just pyrite. First, if the sample is large enough, try breaking a piece off. Pyrite will shatter into multiple fragments, while gold will only bend or flatten. The second test involves using the tip of a knife or a small pocket blade to scratch the sample. If it's pyrite, it won't be scratched because it is hard and resistant. But if it's gold, it will scratch easily since gold is naturally soft in its pure form. These simple tests will already help you differentiate pyrite from gold, so you don't fall for the fool's gold trap. Another important tip: the golden color of pyrite is only on the surface. If you scratch the surface of pyrite with a harder material, you'll notice that its interior has a silvery color. Gold, on the other hand, is yellow throughout, both on the surface and inside. And here's another curious detail. If you rub pyrite against a rough surface like a concrete floor, you'll notice a strong, rotten egg smell. This happens because pyrite contains sulfur, which is released when the stone is scraped. Gold, on the other hand, is odorless, meaning it has no smell at all. Now, what should you do if you find a large and beautiful piece of pyrite? The best advice is not to damage the sample. Many people break pyrite trying to determine if it's gold, but what few know is that pyrite also has commercial value. As a collectible item, it is highly sought after by enthusiasts and is even used in decoration and jewelry. And here's another valuable piece of information. If you find an area with a lot of pyrite, that could be a great sign. That's because pyrite often appears in regions with a high potential for gold deposits. So finding pyrite could mean you're on the right track. Now, another mineral that is often mistaken for gold is chalcopyrite. Unlike pyrite, chalcopyrite is an iron and copper sulfide and is the most common copper-bearing mineral in nature. It is softer and lighter than pyrite, but the same tests used to identify pyrite can be applied to differentiate chalcopyrite from gold. One of these tests is the streak test. When scratched, chalcopyrite leaves a dark green streak, which is characteristic of copper-based minerals. Many people consider chalcopyrite to be the real fool's gold because its golden color is even more intense than pyrite's, making it easier to deceive inexperienced prospectors. However, there is one key difference. Chalcopyrite tends to have a slightly reddish tone, similar to the 18-karat gold used in wedding bands. Real gold, on the other hand, has a lighter, purer yellow color that remains constant. Now, imagine you found a rock with a small golden fragment embedded in it, but it's too tiny for detailed testing. What should you do? Here's a simple and effective technique. Use a fine-tipped nail clipper. Grab the fragment with the nail clipper and observe it under a magnifying glass. Now pay close attention to what happens. If the fragment is hard, snaps, or even breaks, it is not gold. If it is real gold, it won't break. Instead, it will simply bend or flatten. This bend test is one of the most reliable methods for distinguishing gold from other yellow minerals. In fact, this is why many movies show people biting gold coins to check if they are genuine. Pure gold is soft and deforms under pressure, while other minerals tend to break apart or remain completely intact. And here's another important detail about chalcopyrite. If you find this mineral, take a look around. Areas with chalcopyrite often have rocks with greenish stains, which is another strong indicator of copper deposits in the region. Additionally, do not use a magnet to test for gold, because gold is not magnetic and will never stick to a magnet. If a golden-looking object is attracted to a magnet, you can be sure it is not real gold. However, there are some gemstones that look like they contain gold, but are actually precious stones. So how can you tell if you found an ordinary rock or something truly valuable? If you don't know how to properly identify them, you might end up discarding a high-value gemstone without realizing it. And that literally means throwing money away. One option would be to seek the help of a gemologist or an experienced jeweler to evaluate your finds. But if you want to learn how to identify precious stones on your own and avoid being deceived by opportunistic buyers, I have the perfect resource for you. In the first link in the description, you'll get access to a free video where I show you step-by-step how to identify and find diamonds, rubies, and sapphires in nature. And if you want to dive even deeper into the subject, you can get your copy of the ebook Gemology Journey for Beginners, which teaches you how to identify, test, and evaluate the gemstones you find in your area. The best part is that it's currently available at over 75% off, dropping from $20 to just $4.99 with a 7-day guarantee. So don't miss this opportunity. Click the first link in the description and learn how to identify your precious stones with confidence. But if now isn't the right time, that's okay. The next video is already on your screen, where you'll learn how to find other types of gemstones, including diamonds and tourmalines. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Good luck, Gem Hunter.